gentleman here that I want to talk about a little bit is Art Chrisman. I was back in the early days of my drag racing career. I got the opportunity to go as a young guy and go by his shop and see what they were doing, and they were in the heart of Compton there on El Segundo Boulevard near Willowbrook there in that area. And but I had buddies over there, and we'd go and look at what projects they were building there at the Chrisman Garage there at that facility. And today, Art Chrisman has got a facility out in Orange County. It's pretty spectacular. He builds beautiful engines for custom street rods now, and he also has a couple of cars that he runs in the family. But he has had an opportunity to sell some history that he owns, and he did do that. He sold the Hustler, which was I think it's going to a museum, and the other part of Art's collection is gone in that direction as well. He had a couple of cars, I believe it was. One was a coupe, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But also there's a publication coming out, and I believe I'm sure there's going to be a book signing, and it's got the history of Art Chrisman in this particular book. And the gentleman that I had on the show last week, Don Prieto, kind of shed some light on that there's going to be a release of a publication about Art Chrisman himself. And Don is a good friend of Art's, and also built a cackle car that basically resembles the Hustler 2, which was a car that Art had some dealings with in regards to Frank Cannon, and I thought that was a pretty cool deal. And Frank Cannon was very instrumental in my drag racing career, and I had a good time in dealing with him. And
hey, Fred, out of curiosity, when you were building those cars back in those days, if you were to put a relative dollar amount back then compared to today, was it just as expensive?
Well, if you want to talk about an expense, yeah, everything I had was expense. But no, in those days, the quality of parts were nowhere near the same as they are today. I mean, and that's how all this began, was that when you ran a part and you assembled something and you ran it at the strip and you broke it, if it wasn't available anywhere, you would try and make something that was better and improved so you wouldn't break that particular part again. And that's really how the automotive aftermarket began, is that you had guys who were quite innovative, and they were very skilled as well in the machine shop. They were involved in the machine shop environment, and that's they would build a part, and they would bring it to the strip, and you'd look at it, and, oh, I'd like to have one of those. Well, I can make you one. And he says, and you'd end up buying a part that was better than the one you had in the car, and you'd put it in there, and that's how it evolved. I mean, that's from running gear such as rear ends and axles, improved axles, and wheels, and even in tires. There were manufacturers who made tires. I mean, in the early days when they had tires, they were recaps in the very early days. And then after that, they actually had a company that was manufacturing tires, just as an example, because the cars got faster and you had to have a better part. And then that's how the engines evolved. This is the same thing. We used to go to the junkyard and buy the engines out of the junkyard and take them apart, clean them up, put a performance cam in there, and if a company that you knew had a cast piston and they now make a forged piston, you'd buy the better piston and put it in there, and until you went and broke that and figured out why it broke, and then that's how this whole thing began. So
the whole thing was really a trial and error kind of thing, and I would imagine it's still that way today.
Well, it's more sophisticated today, and but there's still things being invented, and it's moved up several levels, and now you're dealing in the areas of electronics, and you're talking about engine management and clutch management, and you're dealing in actually chassis management. There's a lot of areas here that this whole sport has evolved to. So that's kind of the things that are still going on today.
So can you still, as a kid, because you were a youngster back then, and you were monkeying around by dropping in at these different places with these different guys, and obviously, seeing what they have, learning the business. If somebody wanted to do that today, you get a 16-year-old kid, he likes the activity, the fastness of the car, wants to get involved. Is it that protected today to where a kid could not do this? Because it sounds like you guys had just a marvelous freedom by walking into these places, but I don't know if is that true today?
Well, there's only two places where a young person can actually go see up close what racing is all about, and drag racing is one of them, and land speed racing is the other. And you can go through the pits in land speed racing venues. Like a prime example would be El Mirage Dry Lake. They have it once a month for about, I guess, from May to November at El Mirage Dry Lake, and you can go see the cars up close. You can see guys working on these cars. You can see how innovative they are, ask questions. And early on in the program, I mentioned also what has just been initiated in SCTA and BNI is a scholarship program for some of these young people who are in school at this moment, dabbling with engineering, and they're really wanting to be involved with land speed racing. And if they are in some way, shape, or form, they can apply for a scholarship. And the SCTA, BNI are now offering that, which will be found. You can find that information on the SCTA website. But yes, you can go to the pits in drag racing and see the cars being worked on, talk to the owners. They're very approachable. You can talk to even some of the guys on the crew, and they'll tell you basically what it's about. You can see how the parts are being put together. Because in drag racing, the motors come apart every run in most cases, and you can go see that. And there's different classes. I mean, you can there's the stock cars that drive up and down the street today that you see. That's the beginnings of all that. You have your own hot rod you can run at these events. The next level above that is what they call the pro stocks, which are very elaborate formulated vehicles that are factory sponsored or individually company sponsored, or that type of thing. Very sophisticated and very, very fast. And then the higher levels of that are the comp classes, which are cars with open wheels, like roadsters and rear-engine dragsters and little coupes and things of this nature. You can see those. But all of that's found at the local drag strip, and you can find out about some of that. And again, drag racing and also land speed racing venues are approachable people. You can actually go out there and you can see them and see the cars and what's going on. To answer your question, yes, young people can get involved.